This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. Adolpho, it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you today?
Pleasure, I'm good, and you?
Good. Can you tell me about your history of working with Clint and Greg? I know you collaborated with them on Jockey previously.
Yes, we did Jockey together back in 2019, I think. Clint and Greg saw a documentary I shot a couple years before that, and they were trying to find DOP for Jockey that could blend a more documentary style to scripted scenes. And because they saw the documentary and they looked for more of my work, and there was also some scripted work on it, they thought it could be a good combination. So they just wrote me an email and sent me the script of Jockey back then, and that's where everything started. And it was just so amazing to shoot Jockey with them, and especially with Clint. We developed such an amazing relationship that I was just looking forward to work with him again.
And how was the experience of Train Dreams different for you?
Well, it was very different for a lot of reasons. First of all, the size of the movie and the scope. Like Jockey was a movie made for so little and with a crew of 10 people, basically. And then Train Dreams was a period piece, much bigger with a bigger scale. And I think the big challenge for us was actually we like so many aspects of what we had on Jockey, on having a smaller footprint and having a lot of flexibility and sets that were 360 basically, that we could just follow the characters around. And we really wanted to do the same with Train Dreams. And that's not necessarily easy because then you have a lot of trucks around, you have a huge crew, you have so many departments doing their jobs. It's a period piece, so everybody needs to be dressed, and all locations and sets need to be appropriate. So it was a work of an amazing crew from all departments to make it possible to deliver us sets that were 360, and that we could have that same freedom we had on Jockey to improvise and to really explore the whole area without any consequences to it.
It is really so big in scope, and not just that, but also in time. How much is that a part of your work, sort of, grounding the audience in what moment in history we are?
Well, I mean, we really wanted the movie to feel like watching someone's lost memories somehow, like just putting together um, few impressions of someone's life. We always say that, like almost like finding a box full of pictures and looking at those pictures, trying to piece together their life, and not necessarily you seeing all parts of it, but somehow when you see those images together, you make the connections yourself, and there's a bit of space for imagination also to what happened. And those images are sometimes different from each other, and there's big jumps in time and whatever, but somehow you can understand that life, and you see it out of order. You see uh, you see things like not necessarily how they were, just how they imagine, or how people photographed, or how you remember. So I think it was also just giving that impression. The book is a short book also, like it's not that many pages, and the script wasn't either. And even though we really wanted to give also time for the film to breathe and to have silence and to have all those moments, so I think it was a combination of knowing that in advance and shooting with that in mind, but also a brilliant job done by Clinton, the editor Parker, and later on to really convey what was important and what could be left behind, because it would be better as left for imagination than necessarily to be shown.
There's some really impressive scenes featuring all the logging, and I'm curious about the challenges of, working with wood and trees and getting, the scope of that, but still feeling like you're right there.
Well, first of all, it's hard because we don't want to be the ones cutting more trees. So obviously, and we wouldn't do that. So it was a combination of finding different locations that, first of all, look different. And some of them needed to feel old, untouched, and ancient. Some needed to feel more destructed and feel like a cut that has been going for years and years. Um, and also part of finding those locations was to find places that were going to have trees brought down anyway, because in either was a tree that was struck by lightning that was in danger and they had to cut it down anyway, or going to a real logging facility that was going to cut trees anyway, and just immerse ourselves in those places with a lot of times a cast around the main cast that was made of people that had logging experience, so everything felt real around them also. And I feel like Joe also being a character that uh, looks like a person that could be a real logger, to be able to have that feeling, and then really exploring those locations as much as possible and show those locations in nature as another character in the movie.
I really do feel like it is its own character because it's a very, and also, I mean, Jockey is similar to me in a lot of ways, just in terms of you're really spending time, isolated time with characters and their surroundings. And I feel like a lot of films don't do that. They just want to put a lot of people in a scene. And even when, when he's with someone else, in most cases, it's usually a one-on-one kind of thing, and there's something nice and really intimate about that. Do you prefer those to the crowd scenes?
Well, I mean, not necessarily as a preference, but I feel like there's always, for me, it's always hard to imagine an image without having a story behind or knowing what I need to convey. Like I don't, I fell in love with movies before I fell in love with photography. So if there is a meaning behind what you're supposed to be shooting, then it's easy for me. If it's and then it doesn't matter if there's a lot of people on screen or just one or two or just nature. I feel like that was why it was so important for us to understand nature in this movie as a character, to be able to shoot it the way we shot it, feeling okay, this is just another character in the movie. It's just let's just shoot it as the same way we would shoot a person and not uh shoot a postcard. So I feel like it's just like having the intention that makes it helpful. And I feel like for you to be able to really connect with a character, you also need to spend time with them, and having those silences and showing them sometimes doing nothing, it's also important. Otherwise you're just moving the story forward all the time, and you're not leaving any time to feel what they are feeling. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know
Oh,
if that.
no, no, it definitely does. It definitely does. I had the chance to see the film at Sundance in January, and there was, disclaimer before the film that Clint mentioned, which is that fire is a big part of this, and that is obviously a very sensitive time for a lot of people coming from LA. Can you tell me about just approaching that, because that is devastating, but also so you really feel like it's inescapable, it's everywhere.
Oh yeah, because of the fact that so many people face that, we really wanted to be respectful to that experience, and we felt like looking at real forest fire images to understand how we wanted to do our images was better than necessarily going through other films that had fire scenes before, to be as realistic as possible. And we were supposed actually to shoot this in 2023, and we went to Washington to scout when there was a fire there, and we had to stay there for a week, almost not leaving the hotel because everything was smoky and orange, and we lived a bit that experience. We didn't shooting in 23 because of the strike, and we moved to 24. but that was also kind of important for us to absorb that experience and to be able to use it again, and trying to be as respectful as possible for when we shot the actual fire scene. And I feel like because everything in the movie is basically as realistic as possible, from natural light outside to real fire and candles and campfires in all other night scenes, we also wanted that fire to look as realistic as possible. And that was extensive work of testing and with the lighting department to find the right lights and put them in a position with the right feeling, and also a lot of work from the VFX department to then change that for a fire. Um, with also a lot of work from SFX department with smoke and sparkles and etc. So it was just a combination of trying to be as realistic as possible to also match the rest of the movie.
What kind of camera technology is critical to producing this for you?
Sorry, I think you cut out, so I couldn't.
What kind of camera technology was critical to making this all work for you?
Well, we shot it with the Alexa 35, which is, in my opinion, the best digital camera ever made. And that camera has such an amazing dynamic range that you can shoot with a single candle and not worry about anything. You know you're gonna get the image. You know, especially if you're using a fast lens, that you're gonna have detail, that you're gonna have everything captured in a really respectful way, also to what is happening on the environment, having a lot of latitude also to play with it later. Um, Being also a really small camera, and that's key to do a lot of what we did in this movie, which is just like falling around the actors in that fire scene. We were just following Joe around, trying not to trip and fall or do anything in that burnt forest. But yeah, it was a combination of like the right texture and the size to be able to pull those off.
What kind of screens have you seen the film on so far with an audience?
Well, I saw the movie so many times that it's actually hard, because every time I watch it, um, I see something that I wish we could have done better and something that I could change. So I'm avoiding to see the movie right now. But I saw bits of it. Uh, I saw bits of a projection in 35, which was beautiful. Um, Big screens digitally. I also saw a lot of it even on my phone. I'm always trying to, especially when grading the movie, to see it in different screens, because I know as much as we hope everybody would watch it on a big screen, doesn't matter how much you want that. We know that people are going to watch it on their laptops or on their phones or in an uncalibrated projection or whatever. So I'm always trying to seeing all those different screens to be able to create an image that also works for everything.
And the beauty of being a Netflix film is that it will reach a lot of people, but it will also probably reach a lot of people on their home screens. Do you have any recommendations for how you people should watch it if they're watching here?
I think the most important thing is to watch the movie, and I think that it's amazing that a lot of people are gonna be able to do it. It's like, again, I fell in love with uh, filmmaking because of I was watching movies, and I feel like the story part is the most important part of it. Of course, there is an immersive thing about watching it in a better TV. So please turn off your motion, whatever that's called, depending on your television. And besides that, I feel like just watch the movie.
Do you have projects already lined up next that you can talk about?
I just wrapped the movie with M. Night Shyamalan. We shot in Rhode Island until August. And now I'm hopefully waiting for Clint to write another movie.
And whose work are you admiring right now? What other cinematographers out there really impressed you recently?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Robbie Ryan and everything he's doing. I just watched Bugonia and I wrote him because he's it's just impressive what he does, and with a movie that is set almost um, just in the basement, it's just amazing what he does. But I'm also big fan of Rodrigo Prieto. I just think what he does is amazing. Chivo also a big influence. Maybe you can tell that. But yeah, I just love so many people. I feel like one of my biggest influences also is Cesar Charloni. I don't know if you know him. He shot City of God, and it's a big thing for us Brazilians, I think. But it's just like I just love his work so much.
Well, thank you so much, Adolfo. I look forward to seeing what's next for you and for everybody to have the chance to see wherever it is, Train Dreams.
That's the important thing.
Thank
Pleasure.
you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Take care.